One. What's up, everyone? Tom Hayden back for another Week 4 recap show in the Champions Path Draft League. So excited for this one. We got the usual suspects, Jax and Matt here. Jax, say what's up to everyone.
Everybody ready for week 5. Huge playoff implications. Playoff picture is starting to shake out. I'll explain that later on. Let's get it.
Yeah, so Jax is going to do a whole big playoff thing. You guys ain't even ready for that. And Matt, say what's up to the people.
Hey, how's it going? Didn't get to play my game this week, so we'll see kind of how everything shakes out. I have 3 games while everyone else has 2 games.
Yeah, Matt does have 3 games left. Everyone else has 2, so it's very interesting to get into. And yeah, I'm excited for this week. So without further ado, I say let's just get right into it. Let me get this Discord thing pulled up on my phone so I could see everything easily. And let's get into our first match, which was Anti versus KD, which was actually my match. So I should have my notes out, but I don't. All right, here they are. Anti versus KD. I'm not doing the play-by-plays like I usually do, but this was a fun one. And if I didn't, go watch it at Katie Marnie on Twitch. But this was like the Ndidi show. It was Ndidi male versus Ndidi female. Ndidi male on Katie's side had 6 KOs. Like, are you kidding me? 6 KOs. It outsped everything it needed to outspeed. Once Katie was able to get rid of Gardevoir, it just expanding force and brought Marowak down to red. And then we saw it KO Marowak twice with expanding force. Once in game 1, once in game 3. It was just huge. The damage from expanding force, I can't emphasize enough how big it was and how much it came into play in the game 3. And he was in the chat like I lost, and I was saying on my stream when I was watching playing Pokemon Emerald, I was like, I don't think he lost because we saw how much damage that expanding force did the first game. And then Anti played fucking awesome, man. He really he made good switches, but KD was just able to take it out because of how fast Indeedee Male was and how much damage the expanding force did to everything. It was really fun to watch, though. Like, I definitely recommend watching it. Again, I'm not going to do a play by play. That was my notes on the game. And, Jax, you got anything on this one before we move on?
Well, no, yeah, you pretty. That was the whole key point of the game. That and at the end, I could see where he said he might have lost because he was thinking that the Marowak would have been able to take out his Pokemon coming back in that game 3.
Yeah.
But the problem was Anti didn't protect the Marowak to try to chip away damage onto the Indeedee.
Yeah.
And honestly, with the Togepi that KD had using the helping hand on top of the damage that the expanding forces were doing, I think it was going to be too much to do right anyway.
I forgot to mention the helping hands because they really did add up. And he was able to use helping hand on both expanding forces.
Right
Yeah. No, it was really impressive. The damage output was awesome, man. It really was awesome. And Matt, do you got anything on this one before we move on?
Negative, Ghost Rider.
Done and done. First game in the books. Let's get into our second game, which is actually postponed. So Weeble and Matt is postponed for a future date, and Jax is going to be covering that at the future date. So let's not waste too much time. Let's get right into the third game, which was Jolt versus Fox, which was a very entertaining game. And Matt, take it away.
Yeah, so, this is definitely an honorable mention as far as game of the week. I thought Jolt and Fox really played well. What I have here written for my notes, I have, teacher versus the student. Because as far as I believe, Jolt is still in high school, and Fox is a teacher himself. So I thought game 1 was a very interesting game. Fox finally brings the Lazo. I thought that was a good answer for Rimsnarl. The way Fox was able to set up his back monster was definitely good. Game 1, it kind of came down to Excadrill and Dhelmise versus Raichu and Persian.
Yeah.
Definitely an interesting end game because on paper it looks like Fox is going to be able to kind of take it out with Excadrill, but the way the maneuvering. But then we see that Raichu and both Persian have water moves for the Excadrill. And now Raichu is moving faster because of the electric strain. But we do see a bulky Excadrill Joe actually made some good protect reads this game one, but when it came down to was a high horsepower either hitting or missing on Fox's side. But Fox was able to break through the bad luck from the last previous game that he had. Was able to take game one. Game two, we see Dusclops actually have mental hurt, which is huge for Joe because neither Taunt or Poltergeist works on Clops.
Yeah.
You know, you see the Dhelmise go for Poltergeist, but that only works if the mod has an item held onto. And then obviously beforehand, Salazzle goes for the taunt on Clops to stop the trick room. But it doesn't actually go for trick room, which I was very surprised. It goes for Will-O-Wisp instead, and that's what he does. And I actually quoted Fox saying it. He said that's what he does. Joe breaks out the tents. So that's a little quote by Fox there. You see a double. Rhyperior gets a double protect in game two.
Huge.
So it looks like luck is pretty much on Joe's side for this game.
Yeah, he's not
Joe
so
makes
jinxed.
another good read with going for Dhelmise with Clops now faster, taking it out with a Nightshade, with Chandelier protects, and facing a Raichu with Surf. Joe, was in Fox's head this game. Everything that Fox tried to do, it looks like Joe outpaced him, had an answer 2 turns later down the line, and Joe was able to take game 2. In game 3, you see a good switch out by Joel, understanding that Clops had so much pressure into what Fox wants to do, and Joel needs to preserve that. So instead, he switches in Grimmsnarl, which takes Ghost moves pretty well. Chandelure and Dhelmise pretty much doubled into the Clops spot, but with Grimmsnarl coming out there, it pretty much took a lot of the hits. And in between like turn 2 to like maybe turn 6, you see that Fox and Jolt exchange mods. Every mod's pretty much going down. And the end game for game 3 was very interesting. It comes down to Fox's Excadrill and Slowbro versus Jolt's Klutzer, which deja vu for Jolt, which just last game with him and Jax, it came down to Klutzer and 2 of Jax's mons. Klutzer was able to take out Excadrill after taking a high horsepower.
Yeah.
Klutzer goes for a Dark Pulse, but Slowbro barely hangs on with
15 HP. It was 15 HP.
15 HP. Fox then says Slowbro's a god, and yes, it is a god because it's able to take out the Klutzer, and Fox takes down Jump in a 2-1 set.
15.
Yeah, it was ridiculous watching it on stream. I mean, you kind of feel for Joe. I don't know if he went ahead and count for something like that. But you see the HP going down. You can see Fox is definitely concerned watching it on stream, and all of a sudden it stops at 15, and Fox is really happy at 11:30 at night, almost 12 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I was excited and worried watching that live total go down. Well, I'll tell you that.
Oh my god, I loved it.
Yeah, this was an awesome game. Probably my favorite game of the week.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of respect from Fox to Joe. Joe still, young guys, still probably has a little bit more of a mental capacity more than us older guys. So, it's going to be interesting if Joe continues like this. I mean, Joe's had a very hard schedule this season.
Yeah.
From what I understand, he is a champion from the last, season 3 or something like that.
Season 3, and then he took off season 4.
Yeah. So, obviously Joe's back. But yeah, no. Joe's not a walk in the park. Like he is going to play his games to the very end, and you kind of seen it here between him and Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the great thing about him too is he makes really good reads. Like throughout all 3 of those games, he made incredible reads, which he does all the time. And he uses his Pokemon not exactly the way that you would think that they would initially be granted.
Yeah. No, he does use a bit unorthodox strategy sometimes. And do we got anything else on this game before we move on to the next one?
No, sir.
Done and done. Yeah, this was a great one. You can watch it at Fox Gopher on Twitch. Let's get into Pops versus Bum Trash Garbage, which was also a fun one. But Pops prepped for the wrong team. He saw the team, and he didn't realize Bum had made some trades a week before. So he didn't realize he had dropped Hatterene and Glastrier and picked up Dragapult and I forget what else. But I forget what else didn't come. The Dragapult did. That's huge going into a game where you prep for the wrong team. I can't even imagine. But then game one, Pops was able to win 4-0. None of his Pokemon died. It was a combination of a Galarian Zapdos Lele with Darmanitan, uh, Unova, and Guzzlord. And the way he was able to switch and maneuver his Pokemon it was just like I it was probably very annoying for Bum Trash Garbage to play against. He positioned it so well. And it was just like a Fletchinder, a P2, and a Pult. And once you got rid of the Pult, like the P2 wasn't doing enough damage. The Fletchinder wasn't really a damage output mon this week. It was more support. So it was just like it was. Pops was able to maneuver game one very well after coming in unprepared, and that's just some of the adjustments we see from a great player. Game two, my first note is Galarian Zapdos outsped. It outsped the P2 even under a Tailwind, so that was crazy. And then dual wing beat from Fletchinder was awesome. But then Fletchinger did something I didn't realize when Tapu Lele came in. I didn't realize Defog got rid of terrain. So then he was able to come in with Morgrim and Fake Out later, which was really cool. You know, like I was very excited to see that. But I think the turning point of game two was when he Fake Outed, he didn't attack Guzzlord. So Guzzlord was able to take Morgrim down to red. And if he did attack Guzzlord, he would have been able to KO it, which would have been huge. Instead, he attacked the Lele, which survived the hit. And I think that's where game two, it was over once the P2 and the Morgrim were both in red HP out of Trick Room. I think that's just when Pops was able to take control and win in the end game. And it was just too much for Bum Trash Garbage to handle. And I think Bum Trash is so good. Wait, this was a 2-0 victory, not a 2-1 victory, right? Yeah. Or did I get that wrong now? Let me double check the
No,
schedule.
that's too long.
Yeah, it was a 2-0. Yeah, so this was a fun one to watch. Pops really, he didn't even prep for the right team, but the in-game adjustments are so impressive to see. So this was a fun one to watch, and I highly recommend checking it out. And I'm not sure if Bum Trash Garbage streamed it. I probably should have checked, but at the King Pops VGC. And do we got anything else on this one before we move on? Matt, I'll go to you first. Jack?
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
have much of an input. Pops, he's been on sort of a win streak the last couple of weeks. We kind of knew Pops was going to bounce back, and despite Pops not being able to prepare for what he wanted to, at the end of the day, he was still able to make his adjustments. Because if you're telling me that you were preparing for Hatterene and who was the other and Glastrier, and all of a sudden now you see Dragapult like that. You're talking about a different type of mon. You're talking about a faster mon compared to Hatterene and Glastrier. You're probably prepared for like Trick Room to kind of go up there, and now all of a sudden you're facing something that's just going really fast. So shout out to Pop for being able to adjust mid game.
dude, it was very impressive. And yeah, Jax, do you got anything else on this one?
I mean, fortunately enough for Pops, I think Glastrier and Dragapult both in this format aren't nearly as strong as they were in the Dynamax format.
Makes sense.
So even though it's sort of 180 as far as the speed of the team would be, we're going to really slow them to a really fast one. Being able to play situationally really well, which is something that Pops does really good, is definitely a benefit to being able to handle and adjust coming from such an extreme. And he did it really well. He played really flawlessly. I can't believe he 4-0. Like you were saying in his chat, Tom, he was like, he says he completely messed up about what Mons were brought in 4-0s.
It was really impressive. I was very impressed. And do we got anything else on this one before we move on now? I think that's all right. Let's move on. So we got Angelo versus Jade, and Jax, take it away.
So I didn't have like too many crazy people on this game because I mean, Angelo played really, really well, and it's odd that Jade's team hasn't really been as effective as it has in the past with the Dynamax formats going on. I think that Jade just couldn't, even though he had a weakness policy on his I didn't have the Pokemon written down. The Cresselia, even though he had the weakness policy on the Cresselia, it still couldn't do enough damage to really affect the outcome of the game in either the first or the second leg. Angelo's TR mode, which I think is a mainstay of what his team is built around. It seems like it's built for a TR set, like a Trick Room runner, and he tries to not use it as a Trick Room, which then he gives up any speed control that he really has.
Yeah.
But I think even if he tried to play this match as a hard Trick Room match, Angelo just would have outplayed it with the Celesteela and the
Snorlax.
Relaxo, or the fat Pokemon there.
Snorlax.
Yeah, Snorlax. He would have just been able to outplay it, outmaneuver, and do damage with that, even if he had gotten the Trick Room, which ended up being something that Angelo's gotten really good with. Mimikyu's really, really difficult with that disguise. You were pretty much the only person, Tom, to be able to get around that from Angelo, and that's been a base for Angelo this whole season, is being able to lead with that Mimikyu, Mimikyu and Chimsticks, the great Chimsticks, and be able to get TR up, and then once he's able to get TR up, he just brings in Celesteela and sweeps all the time. So,
and that's why Celesteela has 17 KOs on the season.
Yeah, which is a testament to that. And even when you can't handle that, if you can handle that, it comes up with Snorlax's as a backup to that. I mean, that's a super thick mon to have to come up against. Tootie says, "Don't judge Relaxo's weight," but it's a thick boy, and it's equally hard to beat. It's equally hard to beat.
I mean,
I've missed all the chats. Wait, what's up, everyone? Sorry.
It's thick, you know. So I just think it was sort of rough for Jade from the beginning. If he tried to go fast, Angelo can force his way into Trick Room. And if he tried to go with Trick Room, which is, I think, what most of Jade's team is naturally wanting to do, Jade couldn't out damage in Trick Room what Angelo can, and that's what makes Angelo's team really, really strong. Is
Yep.
He can force you into Trick Room, and then once he's in Trick Room, he can just beat your face in.
Yeah, it's not fun to play against. Unless you win. But, yeah, this is a fun one. Angelo's won every game except for the game one against me. So, we got to stop this man, or he's going to win it all. Very easily, I feel like. So, good for Angelo. I'm excited to see who he plays this week. I actually forget. But, Matt, you got anything else on this game?
Not too much. And I mean, it did give me some good insight to how Jade wants to kind of run his team. Because I do play him this week, but besides that, Angelo's a really good competitor. Like Jack said, that Snorlax and Celesteela combo is definitely scary. To be honest, I'm actually more scared of the Snorlax than the Celesteela. So many times I've went up against the Snorlax that had Belly Drum or Curse, and once it starts piling up its stats, I mean, Snorlax is really hard to take down. But yeah,
he hasn't tried to use that yet. He hasn't used any set that set up the Snorlax either.
Exactly, but Angelo knows what he's doing. And his team is scary, so you get those two combos together. He knew what he wanted to do coming into this draft, and he was able to perfect what he wants to do. And it seems like he's just kind of getting better and better as the season goes.
And we can't forget about his fast mode with Rain Kingdra. So, crazy, scary team composition. Love to see it. And let's get into the next one, which was another good game. Pengy versus Yama. And Matt, this one was yours, so take it away, my friend.
Yeah, so Peggy versus Yama. So it was a short week for Yama. Yama forgot what day they were actually playing.
Yes.
And, I think that kind of aided in the way the game was played out, but it was still fairly close. I mean, from what, even though Yama said he didn't really prep like he wanted to, or no prep, you did see Yama just have the basic knowledge of how to play competitive Pokemon. And you kind of seen that, happen here. Even though Penny was able to, get the 2-1 victory. We see a substitute Dracovish, which was a big threat for Yama game 1. Big turn, I thought. Yama thought that Nidoking was going to go for a protect instead of it attacking, while Jinx was on the field and could have went for a psychic on Nidoking. So I thought that was fairly big in game 1. During one point in game 1, we get a question and an answer right away. Whose brick break is truly breaking a brick between Tyranitar and Diggersby? And it edges out that it's the ugly looking squirrel that takes the W on that one. Despite not being prepared, Yama actually takes game 1. Game 2, Pengy must love substitute teacher day, because Heatran reveals that had a substitute as well. Game 2, Yama now opts for a U-turn on Heatran, hoping to take it out late game, but Heatran actually holds on to 1 HP, and Heatwave's picking up game 2.
Crazy.
Game 3, I think this is where you kind of see the lack of preparation come out for Yama. Yama started off hot, started putting up all those points on the board, but had no defense to kind of cover the hold on for dear life. And then, not having a true answer for Nidoking besides Diggersby, and I guess Jinx as well. Some good positioning puts Yama in a bad spot, and Pengy's able to take game 3. And then, something I did right here, I wrote, I hope Yama gets to reflect on game 2, and why not reflecting was crucial downfall in game 2.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully whoever watched that game knows what I'm talking about, because Yama was going back and forth on if he should go for a reflect or not.
And he went for the too low and got knocked out.
Correct. And I think, I love watching Yama's games, because he talks everything out. I mean, even when he played Andrew, there were certain times in the game where he says, if I go for this Pyro Ball and I miss, that's it. But deep in my gut, I know I'm going to miss this Pyro Ball, but he goes for it anyway. So, definitely interesting. I appreciate watching Yama stream. And so Pengy takes 2-1 over Yama.
Yeah, fucking incredible. It was an incredible match. Yama's an awesome streamer to watch. Like, definitely go check out at Yamagoo and watch this one if you can. And they have a rematch in High Roller coming up next week. So I'm so excited for that, too. And, Jax, you got anything on this one before we move on?
No, I think that Matt did a really good job, revealing it. It ended up being a close game, even though it was sort of a throw with Yama not really preparing for it, unfortunately. But the power of the substitutes is what came out.
For real. All right, let's get into the next one, which was actually your match, Jax. Jax versus Andrew. And I am sorry I missed this one, guys. I don't have a lot of notes on this one. Let me go read what Andrew told me. Because I reached out to Andrew once I realized. Oh, he didn't tell me much. Game 1, I had Dragapult as Supportmon and Wisp as Dracovish game 1, but he instantly KO'd Dragapult game 2. And that's the only notes I got on this one, because I missed it live. And I'm sorry about that, everyone. But, yeah, Jax, do you want to say anything before we move on? I'm sorry I have such little notes on this one, guys.
That's alright. Yeah, I had it calced out to stop his trick room mode as long as only one thing didn't come, and that was a support Dragapult. And I found out the very first turn of game 1 that he had support Dragapult with the Will-O-Wisp, and that was the only thing that could stop what I was trying to do. So I had it calc. to where I could one-shot the Dragapult if I wanted to with the Dracovish. I decided to try to take out the Cresselia game 1, paid for that mistake. Then in game 2, I came immediately just targeted down Dragapult, and then
Boom goes the dynamite.
Have to put it in the game 2. If you, I had to take the VOD down because of my wife and my kid might have gotten on camera, and my wife did not like that. So, unfortunately, you can't see it. But I went for a Vicious Rend on the Sandaconda who had coiled twice, and I missed, and my jaw hit the floor because I thought Vicious Rend was a 100% accurate move.
Sandvale.
And it is, but the Sandaconda had Sandvale, so that kind of blew my mind as far as something that I was not expecting to come into the match. But
it also gets access to minimize, which I know we can't use in this one. Oh, it was a lack of practice on my end, says Andrew. And that's what some of these matches come down to. But
yeah, I had a way of going at it to where I could pivot into a lot of situations that Andrew's team can do. But it was difficult. It's a tough time when that was my practice partner. So we practiced for the last 3 weeks, ever since week 2 started, to have to play somebody because they know your team really well. I know his team really well. So
yeah,
I'm just gonna come out with the win.
Yeah, no, that's always a stressful thing. And all right, so Matt, you got anything before we move on?
No, I think watching the game, it does it justice because what Jax is able to do with his Dracovic, as well as the Gigalith. Now, I remember Pengy in the beginning of the draft saying, I can't believe you let Dracovic fall to me. But as of right now, what it looks like is I can't believe we let Dracovic fall to Jax, because what he's doing with Dracovic is pretty interesting, pretty cool, and showing why it's such a threat in this format.
Crazy. Yeah, Dracovic is crazy good in this format. Penny was right. Very right about that. You'd love to see it. And Jax has taken it to an undefeated season so far. All right. So let's move on to the next one, which is Wheeze versus Tootie. And Jax, this was a Euro game, right?
Yes, this is my game. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of votes for this game because I fell asleep during it because Tootie's super yawned me. I made it through one turn and then fell asleep for 5. Just in time for to find out that Tootie had won 2-0.
Well, also, a big thing in this one was Wheeze muted himself because he got a work call. So that made it harder.
He ended up, his manager called him at the beginning of game 1.
Yeah.
So he's pretty much played the entirety of game 1 watching him argue with somebody from work.
I felt bad, yeah.
While he played. So, but even with that, when he wasn't on the call and he played game 2, he completely controlled game 2.
Yeah.
Game 1, he used
oh, excuse me. Sorry.
With the toxic spikes. Mirroring, something like that.
Toxapex?
Oh, yeah, Toxapex. He used Toxapex and used Toxic Spikes, thinking that he was going to be able to control switch-ins and poison all of Tootie's stuff. Unfortunately for Wheeze, who threw out the Toxic Spikes with Swampert and Incineroar out there, and those are 2 incredibly Pokemons that he didn't really have much that he could do because Swampert was yawning things, and Incineroar was just going for damage while being able to eat hits.
Yeah.
So it kind of was not that great thing for Wheeze because he used Toxic Spikes, and Tootie just didn't change out his Pokemon. He just Pokemon in there, and they 8 hits and 8 hits and 8 hits and kept hitting Wheeze's Pokemon, and eventually gave him the advantage in number of Pokemon, which is huge in this season. Once you get the Pokemon advantage, it's big. And then at the end, see he switched out for Metagross, who can't get poisoned, and then just continued to sweep from there with weakness policy Metagross. Solid game plan by Tootie all around. The yawns were I'm saying, it was really annoying to watch, but it was extremely effective. The yawn plays were extremely effective this week, both from him and from you, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, spoiler alert to our next game.
Yeah, the yawn plays this week really came in clutch. I feel like it's a tech that you don't usually see a lot in Draft League. Like yawn and substitute, like we were just talking with Penny. Even though I know he loves using substitute.
He's used it multiple times too.
You know, once you can master the art of the substitute or the yawn or stuff or other texts like that you don't usually see come every day in a draft format, it can obviously, as you would see if you watch this game on Weeze's on Twitch, it's super effective.
I used yawn. Wait, Tootie just said I used yawn 6 times in game 1.
Yeah. Dude, when I say that I fell asleep from a yawn that hit me instead of Weeze's Pokemon, I wasn't kidding.
God damn. That's awesome. Oh my god, Jax, yeah, this is an awesome game. Jax, you got anything else? Because you broke it down wonderfully. This was a fun one to watch from, even though it was, like, this was a good one.
Yeah, it was surprisingly, even though it was really drawn out, and all of us in chat were making fun of the fact that it was really drawn out with the yawns, it was actually kind of entertaining to watch it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Because it was almost like he was yawning Pokemon that were already asleep, thinking they were going to wake up, and yawning them
again. Yeah, and Matt, you got anything else on this one before we move on?
That's about it.
I love it. I love it. All right, so let's get into the next yawn match, which was my game. I won 2-0 against Arceus, who is an amazing person. And Matt, take it away. I would love to hear your opinion on my game.
Oh my goodness! Do you really want to hear what I have written about this game?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Well, you know.
I asked for it.
So Arceus versus Tom, game 1. What Arceus was actually, what he was doing was actually pretty cool, setting up his Mons. You know, I'm not even trying to pronounce the Mon. That little thing with like spikes sticking out of it. Yeah, yeah, there you go. And what he was able to do, setting everything up and getting the Con Pass, you know, setting things up was cool, but Tom said, I'm just going to put everything to sleep. And I thought he was talking about, like, the actual game, but I didn't think he meant, like, putting everyone that was watching it to sleep. Because he put everyone to sleep watching this game. I had to, like, stop the game for a second, because, you know, like Jack said, I kind of got a little irritated watching this. I'm like, Rock Slide and Yawn. You know, that's pretty much how this game played out.
And Protect.
You know, Tom, I won't even, like, I had Tom relied on the flinches, but I don't really think that, I mean, yes, it aided him into winning, but it felt like Arceus was more focused on trying to get his Mon set up to start OHKOing things, where, like, if Tom is just putting your Mons to sleep and getting flinches off, like, you have to be able to start getting some of it down, especially Togekiss being bulky itself. You know, the Steel Berry taking into effect when he went for a Rock Slide and it wasn't able to flinch the Mudsdale. But even though Mudsdale was at, I think, like a
+3.
Yeah, +3 with an Iron Head onto Togekiss.
I lived it.
It did about a little bit more than half.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this Togekiss is really bulky. But that's what you get in that type of Togekiss. You can run it real bulky. And, you know, you have to at least hit it 2 times. And that's, you're looking at a +3 iron head by a mud there.
I thought I was done
You
for,
know,
even through the berry with that. I was terrified.
yeah.
So he must have
So,
been very bulky, too.
yeah, so then Tom takes game 1, because Spectrier comes out, starts to shadow ball and kind of clean up there. Game 2, same leads by both Tom and Arceus.
Yep.
I thought maybe game 2 was going to be interesting because now Arceus understands what Tom's looking to do. But at the same time, Arceus is like, you know what? Maybe if Tom doesn't get those same clinches, maybe I have a shot. But Yawn is so annoying to deal with. Sleep is probably one of the best and worst things you can do in this type of game. Because it's all luck at that point. Like, you don't know when he's gonna wake up. You're either gonna get 1 turn, 2 turns, or 3 turns. And it's really easy to kind of put things to sleep in this type of format. Tom said it best. It feels like a very boring game. Sorry to everyone. Arceus wants nothing to do with going to sleep again and then quits game 2. It felt longer than what it actually was. It was only 2 games, but it definitely felt longer.
It's definitely what happened was the flinches happened at very opportune times. And I kept saying in my stream, I'm more scared of Zoroark pretending to be Mimikyu than anything else. Like, that was my biggest fear. I was scared of a Mimikyu in the back or a Mimikyu lead and not knowing what was going on. And he didn't bring Mimikyu or Zoroark. And those were the 2 Pokemon I prepped for by far the most. So I was very scared going into this. And then he had some cool techs that I stopped with the flinches and KOs. So game 2, turn 1, he wanted to Storm Throw and get Togekiss out of there, which would have been cool, but I Dazzling Gleamed and Rock Slided and just was able to KO Riolu, and he didn't get the coaching off on Pyukumuku. And then another strategy that I wish we saw happen, because I'm actually curious about this interaction now, is Tangrowth, Leaf Guard, Sunny Day. So he flinched on a turn where he clicked Sunny Day, and if the sun is up and Leaf Guard is up, you can't get statused. So I don't know if that would have prevented him from going to sleep with Yawn. I think it would have. So that's something I was interested to see, but we didn't see. And then another thing is I wish Baton Pass took the drowsiness too. It gets rid of drowsiness when you Baton Pass, which I thought was cool. Which I thought was really cool. And Jax, you got anything on this one before we move on to the next one?
No, you've done a great job covering it. 7 flinches. 7 in 2 games.
And they were all
2
after
double
game
flinches.
4. They were all crucial
2 double
times.
flinches.
Yeah, 2 full double flinches. But what the most important part of those was there were 4 after turn 4 in game 1 and 3 after turn 3 in game 2. So it was just like very
At one
ideal.
point, it took more than 2 turns for Arceus to be able to do anything between flinches and sleeps.
Yeah, no, it just worked out very well for me. And I was able to get the 2-0 victory. And now, Turtle, I'm coming for you because I treated that game like a playoff game. I told all my in real life friends, I was like, hey guys, I got a playoff game today. I'm 1-2. If I lose, I'm out of the playoffs. Turtle, the playoffs continue for me against you. So I'm coming for you. I'm excited, man. And let's get into the next one, which was Jam vs. Snom, which was another one that wasn't streamed. And let me go look up my notes for Snom that Snom sent me. There was a trade. Jolt has traded Sylveon for Ferrothorn. 4 trades remaining. Ooh. And we see, what's it called? Sylveon as one of our KO leaders. Our KO leaders, I wrote it down in the chat. I didn't write it down on a slide. I should have. But wait, let me go through the KO leaders, because it's pretty interesting to see. It's, Angelo Celestilo with 17. Jax, you're in DD female with 11. KD's in DD male with 10. Jam Sylveon with 10. And my Blaziken with 9. And now we see a Sylveon getting dropped in the other conference. So we know it works in this, So that's interesting to see. But let me go to my messages with Snom. Game 1, I was able to clutch in the end by shooting rock slides with Salk. Game 2, he basically did the same thing, but adapted by using Rain Dance Jelly with 2 water moves, Scald and Muddy Water, which caught me off guard and won. Game 3, he used Trick Room the first turn, and we fought until it was Ninetales Stalk versus Jelliente, where we started missing almost every move: Heat Wave, Stone Edge, Rock Slide, Muddy Waters. But he missed a move in the end, which let me take the win game 3 somehow. Also worth noting, I used a team I used against Smurf last week because I accidentally grabbed that team. It sounds like a crazy game. That's the only notes I have on Jam vs. Snob. I love Snob. Snob is I have 2 moderators on this channel now. Snob and Carney Asada. Those are my 2 moderators now. Shout out both of them. But yeah, Snob is amazing.
Yeah,
And
so I actually have some input
take
on
it away,
this game
Matt. Take it away, Matt.
because last week we were we stated that a lot of the predictions that we were making, like everyone was kind of.
You're breaking
I
up.
remember Top mentioning. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now. We hear you now.
Yeah. So I said last week when we were making predictions, we were all kind of picking the same thing, but there was a moment during that when we were doing predictions that Tom said you may see some upsets, and this was one of the upsets. Now I know Snom is a really good competitor.
Yep.
He hasn't started off as hot this season.
Yep.
And from what I understand, Jam is a really good competitor.
Yep.
Even though my game versus him, went 2-0.
Yep.
Those 2-0, that 2-0 victory was really hard to come with because he was
Yeah.
still making good plays. We were both making good reads, so it was really tough. And I thought after that game, Jam was starting to reach out to get help to kind of start building his team and start prepping a little bit more. So I thought after that last game, I thought Jam was going to go, kind of go on a tear. And then Snob comes out of nowhere with a huge 2-1 victory over Jam.
Yep.
So shout out to Snob. And,
Yep.
Snob did say everyone chose against me. And honestly, I don't know if I'm going to choose against Snob after that again.
Spoiler alert, I'm not. I don't care who he's playing. I'm picking it this week. I already wrote him down. Yeah, I already wrote him down. Sorry, Alpaca. And Alpaca, I have a good respect for Alpaca because Alpaca beat me playoffs season 2, my first season. But, shout out to Snob because this was a very impressive win against Jam, who's a very good player. And Jax, you got anything on this one before we move on?
Nope.
Done and done. So let's get into your last game of the week, which is Alpaca versus Behaney. Again, I was just talking praises of Alpaca, but Jax, take it away.
Yeah, this one unfortunately felt like another sort of throw game because before Behaney had let us know that unfortunately he had a bunch of stuff going on in real life and was unable to adequately prep for Alpaca. And that's dangerous, man, because Alpaca, we know, is a solid player in this league. He's had some really tough teams. He's had some hard luck over the last 2 seasons. But he's no slouch when it comes to battling in this game.
Yeah.
So if you're playing somebody, especially in a draft format, you have to be able to put that time into practice, or you're kind of setting yourself up on the wrong foot, I would say. But with that being said, Behaney comes out of the gates in game 1 and is able to pull out what seemed to be a fairly easy victory. Regarding the plan that he had against Alpaca, but Alpaca was the one that this time that could make some strong adjustments. And his adjustments was basically kind of like the yawn techs in earlier matches. His adjustment was hypnosis tech.
Yeah.
And he just sat there and had tried to hit blind hypnosis
with Jigglypuff.
Yeah. So he went for hypnosis 5 times in game 2, hit 3 of them, which were big. Missed the first 2, but hit 3 of them. This was the game. Game 2 was the game where Behaney found out that he was mentaler because he tried to encore after the initial protect in turn 1, but because of mental herb, you can't get encored.
Yep.
And then after that, he would just put in work trying to sleep everything and being quite successful doing so. Game 3, Behaney realized the right fielder was just incredibly bulky and invested, so his Gigadream from the Volcarona that you would think would take that out didn't. I think it did like 60% damage. And then after he realized that he wasn't taking that right fielder in game 3, he knew it was over. That rock slide was coming in like an absolute sledgehammer.
Like a
Taking
bat
out
out of hell. Shout out Meatloaf.
taking out his two of his Pokemon, giving Alpaca the Pokemon advantage at that point. This was only 2 turns into game 3, and it was pretty much Behaney knew from there.
Yeah.
It was a doomed game,
Yeah.
and which is a shame because the first 2 games went back and forth. They both played really, really well. They both had a missed read here or there, but they were decent games as far as both were playing really, really well. And then unfortunately for Behaney, he made a read that he thought was going to work, and it didn't work. And sometimes those are the reads in this game where if you make them, they're good. But if you make them and they don't work, it proves fatal, and that's exactly what ended up happening in Game 3. So, very well played by Alpaca.
Yeah. All right. And this was a fun one to watch, too. It really was. I think both of them streamed it. You can watch it on both their channels, at Behaney_27, at Alpacalypse, Z Alpacalypse. Sorry if I haven't been shouting out all the Twitch streamers. It was hard to keep track and write everything on every slide. So I was like, I'm not doing that this year.
Alpaca hasn't been streaming this season.
Oh, does he make YouTubes?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I gotta check. I think I'm subscribed to his YouTube. I definitely am actually. So yeah, you can check it out on Alpaca's YouTube's, and you can check it out on Behaney's Twitch. And Matt, you got anything on this one before we move into the last game?
No, not really. Me from this season so far, I have gotten a little bit close with Behaney, so
Amazing.
he's just a really good guy. You can kind of tell. Running this league is not an easy thing. Running any leagues is not an easy thing. Also getting the surgery. He is a professional athlete, so you can only imagine that's like putting some time back where now you kind of have to just kind of rehab and whatnot. So shout out to Behaney. But at the end of the day, I mean, shout out to Alpaca. I mean, that's an undefeated season coming to an end.
Yeah.
And we'll see how Behaney bounces back at this point.
And what's it called? Yeah, Behaney said something funny in general. He said, "Yeah, I haven't had to babysit as much this year," which is a very funny thing to say, because we have all seen him have to babysit people before, and it gets pretty funny, when we know he's friends with the people he has to babysit. Then, it's like so it's he's happy about that. So shout out Behaney. I hope recovery's going well, and I can't wait to go to a baseball game and see him pitch. Hopefully, the lockout lasts as long as he needs it to, and then he'll be back recovered right when the lockout ends. And
exactly
done and done. And yeah, so let's move into the last game, which we were all very excited about. It was Turtle versus KJ, and Matt, take it away.
Yeah, so I already wrote down. I thought even before the game started, it was going to be game of the week, and I hate doing something like that because I didn't want to put too much hype around a match. But at the same time, I think it deserved it, just like the Fox and Behaney match deserved game of the week before. Because you have 2 undefeated teams. Not only do you have 2 undefeated teams, but you have 2 battlers who are really good. They were able to construct their teams the way they wanted to. And I think KJ, before that game started, mentioned that he was doing some different calculations and making some adjustments. And I think this was like the day of the game. And usually when you see something like that, you're like, man, like this either he found a sweet little tech, or maybe he's thinking a little bit too much about his matchup. So we'll kind of just dive in here. Game 1 provided some great positioning on both ends. I do like watching Turtle play. Turtle is able to position a lot and just kind of set up his mons in certain spots. I like what Turtle did with his Celesteela and getting Leech Seed off most of the time.
Yeah,
Turtle's Rillaboom gets frozen by P2,
crazy.
which I thought was pretty critical. After a try attack, but game one, Turtle played that masterfully. You can see the experience he has playing this game and how comfortable he was with his moves and being very calculated. And, Turtle was able to win this game. I believe he was able to preserve all four of his Mons. If not, he had three Mons left. So after game one, it feels like Turtle may kind of have the advantage. So, how is KJ going to respond? And the only thing I have to say about game two is Heatran is a gun.
Yep.
After watching this game, there's no reason why Heatran should not be, Pokemon of the week after what it was able to do. Turtle pins KJ. Um, right now, at that point, Turtle has four Mons to KJ's one, which is Heatran. But then all of a sudden, Heatran comes out of the gate, picking up all four. Well, he picks up 3 KOs because Turtle does quit at the end. But he was going to take out Turtle Celesteela at the end of the game. Turtle might have overlooked Heatran in this game. I think the prioritizing in this, if he would have took out Heatran earlier, obviously I don't think any other of KJ's Mons would be able to take out the way it did. There was one crit that happened, but Nidoqueen was already at 99% health, and being hit with a Earth power. I don't know if the crit mattered. Obviously, we would have to see it, as far as the calculations go. But then game three, the momentum was on Turtle's side after game one. The way that Turtle was able to win comfortably, having all four of his Mons, and watching game two kind of just slip out Turtle's hands. Like, it still felt like Turtle had the momentum, but KJ definitely had something cooking at that point. Game three, there was an interesting situation that happened where I believe Turtle tricked a Choice Scarf onto Rotom. Rotom tricked it onto Heatran. Now Heatran is now faster and everything. And then once again, Heatran goes to work once again, taking out the remaining Mons. And, KJ Chicken, I won't say he pulled off the upset, but he pulled off a very convincing win. And
Yeah.
KJ is still undefeated, and Turtle goes down for the beginning, for the first time this year.
I think we all picked. I think 2 out of 3 of us picked KJ, but I just thought it was like a matchup advantage. But yeah, you mentioned Heatran, and sorry, I'm buying Spider-Man tickets now. My friend, he couldn't get tickets with me Thursday, so I'm going to go see it Friday morning with him too. So I got to go buy those tickets, but I got logged out of my Regal account. But yeah, dude, this was a really good game, and yeah, I thought KJ had like a tight matchup advantage looking at the rosters. That was my thoughts going into it, and KJ was able to pull off the victory. But Jax, you got anything on this one before we move on?
Yeah, I picked KJ for a different reason entirely, which I'll keep to myself.
Okay.
But, I think the turning point at one point, which Matt noted, was he tricked away the Choice Scarf that made him fast. Yeah, Mantine set Tailwind in the beginning, of game 3. That was pretty cool to see. He basically just had it out there to set Tailwind and be gone.
I like Mantine. It's a cool Pokemon.
When Turtle ended up giving away his Choice Scarf, he was no longer guaranteed fast. We ended up playing a big play in the end game because at that point he was no longer faster. So he got taken out before he could attack. If he could have attacked first, it would have been possibly different. So that was an interesting play, but really well played match by both guys.
Yeah, no, this was a really good one. So, all right, that was the last match we got of the week. Are you guys ready to go into Pokemon of the week?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'm going to buy these tickets later. There were a lot left in the C-row. I like to sit front and center. But Pokemon of the week is Heatran. It got into the conversation, honestly, because of KJ's, but then we included Pengy's too. So yeah, shout out Heatran for winning Pokemon of the week.
I did not advocate for Penguins.
Yeah, I did.
I just want.
I did. And then yeah, so shout out Pokemon of the Week. It got into the conversation because of KJ Heat Ran after this, and I was like, you know what? Heat Ran actually crushed the other side too. So this was a big week for Heat Ran. Shout out Heat Ran. Shout out both these coaches, KJ and Pengy. And Matt, you got anything?
No, I mean, I advocated as soon as I saw that KJ was able to take out Turtles team in game 2 with just Heatran. I mean, not to
Yeah,
harp
the
on
reverse sweep.
yeah, like
It's
not
impressive.
to harp too much on it, but like this is Turtle. Like this isn't this isn't Schmo off of the he's playing Pokemon for the first time. Like this is Turtle. He has some years behind him. Like he is the better type of guy. He knows how to play. And to see KJ like do what he did with Heatran, I thought that was be amazing to watch.
And yeah, so shout out these Pokemon, and then let's get into the honorable mentions. I got an honorable mention, guys. And I always nominate myself, but Jax actually said it today, too. I was like, let's go. I can include Excadrill. Then we also got Celesteela with Angelo. Then we also got Togepi and Indeedee Male for KD. So all these Pokemon were nominated. Let's go, KD is right. Yeah, all these Pokemon were nominated. So shout out all of us. Me, Angelo, KD. Woohoo. Yeah, so Excadrill for the 7 flinches.
Togepi was kind of a butt nomination,
Yeah.
but I'll let that slide though. It's cute as hell.
Andrew, what the hell's going on for you? The stream's replaying certain segments like every 11 seconds? That sounds weird. I don't have any stream problems on my end. So I'm sorry you experienced that. If everyone else is, shit, I don't know what to do. But I got the recording. We can watch it on YouTube. But yeah, shout out all the honorable mentions. And let's get into the kill leaders, which was Angelo Celesteela again and Katie's and Dee Mail, both with 6 kills.
Stream went down for me.
Stream went down? On my end, it says we're fine.
Yeah, it's just buffering. Maybe it's just for me.
No, it says that for Andrew. I'm gonna turn off my TV, maybe. See, I don't have any of the usual notifications that it's low connection. Yeah, no. All right, so shit. Let me go to my Twitch on
Sorry, I got it back. I just reloaded it.
I wonder why. So Andrew, if you're having any problems, just refresh the stream. Sorry about that, my friend. I'm gonna go check it out too. I don't know what happened. Oh, it says we got 8 viewers. I only see 6 on my end, so shout out everyone who's here. Oh, I see me in my shirt. I like this shirt. Got him for like 30% off at DXL with my discount. Refresh the stream. Sorry about that, my friend. Oh, it's working fine for me. Oh, it's actually right when I said that it paused. Okay. So yeah, it's gonna be one of those things. If it's buffering for you, you might have to watch a YouTube show if you want to see it. But let's get into the predictions and what's it called. So these were the predictions from week 3 that I never went over. So I was 1 for 1. I had the best percentage, not to pat my own back too much. And then we see a lot of people getting 6 and 5. So a lot of people getting 50% for week 3. And then let's go to week 4. It was only me, you, and Matt that did the predictions, and we all got 7 right out of the ones we predicted. Oh, I should have said 7 out of 9. Oh no, I should have said. Yeah, no, I think the math's right. Yeah. Is it right? Yeah. Team super lit right now. Tom super. Yeah, I am super lit right now. I am. Fuck yeah. And then shout out to us. But let's get into the standings next. So Jax, I'm gonna do the individual standings and then we're gonna do the double standings. Hey what's up, Yama? Alright, so you ready for that? So these are the standings right now 4-0, 4-0, 3-1, 3-1, and a bunch of 2-2 teams. So everyone, I feel like in the 2-2 teams, is still alive in the playoffs. And then let's get into, you know what? I'm gonna just do this quick. Then we got 4-0, 3-1, 2-1, and less 2-2 teams in this one. But let's get into the double. And Jax, tell us what you're talking about with the playoff implications for this week. That's a baby. It sounds like it's not my baby, but it's a baby. It
I
happens.
thought it was on the screen. I was like, what's going on?
No, it's not on my end. It happens though. But yeah, Jax, tell us what you did the math wise. Sorry if this is hard to see. I can pull up either side when you're talking about either side too. So I'll be very attentive.
Okay. So, this is the entire breakdown of how the playoff picture is going to shake out as of right now. Now, there is a contingency that Matt and Weeble did not play this past week. So, I will go over the implications of all the scenarios, whatever they may be, after we go through this. And this is based on a criteria that should be directly under that graph that breaks down, like, in order,
The tiebreakers.
what makes, the tiebreakers of importance, okay? So number one is Angelo because he's got the best differential. Of all the 4-0 teams, he's got a 7 differential, which is better than anybody else's. Then it goes me with a 6 differential and KJ with a 5 differential.
Hey.
So that automatically puts us in order 1, 2, 3 in order to seeding. Okay? Then there's a 3-way tie between the 3 and 1 teams with Behaney, Fox, and Turtle. Everything is identical with all 3, except for Behaney being ahead of Fox because he already beat him head to head.
So what would the tiebreaker with Turtle be?
Yeah, Turtle didn't beat either one of them. So it's kind of floating. They kind of float in between 4th and 6th position on this. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think anybody has been told what's going to happen. If it ends up being all the way to the end of the season and all this stuff is tied,
I would love to see a round robin. A play-in like the NBA.
And when I took into account everything that could have differentiated the 3, the only one was Behaney played Fox and beat him. Other than that, it's a tie, a push. They're 4 to 6 position. You can order them in any way that you want to. 7th position is Matt. 7th position is Matt because we did not play this week, so we've got a 2-1 record. Okay. 8th position is Pengy. Pengy being in 8th position.
With a 2 differential.
Because of his differential being at +2 and everybody else in that tier being the highest +1.
Right there, Yama.
After Pengy is because of KD's win. It was originally Yama, but KD's probably updated on the screen. But KD did win last night, and his differential makes him the exact same as Yama's right now. So Yama and KD float between.
Time out. Did KD win 2-0 or 2-1?
2-1.
So his differential is 0. Because he has 6 losses, 6 wins.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Hey! I told you I'd be an attentive listener.
Yeah, perfect. So then he is not tied with Yama.
I have an echo.
I for some reason had that as a +1.
I'm so sorry if there's an echo.
Yama is in sole position of 9.
Because he has a +1. He's 6 and 5.
What, Yama is?
Yeah. I'm 5-4 with a +1. So why is Yama ahead of me?
Because of rounds 1.
Okay,
He's a
perfect.
6'5", and rounds 1 is
More important.
yeah, rounds 1 is the one after that. So he is ahead of you on that criteria alone.
Perfect.
So you would move to 10.
What's up? It's me.
Yeah, you would move to 10th. Then Tootie is at 11. And then Katie moves to 12 because of differential. Then there is Pops and then Snom, who both have all of the same criteria as well.
Identical?
Yep, they are all identical. Comes down to 2-0 wins. Rounds 1, conference record. There is no head-to-head, round differential, and record. Everything is equal.
There's Snob and there's Pops.
Yep. So then, 15 and 16 is Andrew and Alpaca, who also were 2-2 records, and everything is identical, but they both have a negative differential.
-2.
So as it is right now, if you have a negative differential, you are just outside of the playoffs.
Oh, that's kind of cool. How it's everyone that's neutral and above is in the playoffs, and everyone that's negative is out. And KD is neutral.
Yeah. As presently constituted, that is exactly what it is. Now comes the rub. What happens with Matt and Weeble's game? So Matt and Weeble play, and Matt loses 2-0. Then Weeble ends up moves up and ends up taking the 9th, 10th spot with Yama. And Matt actually drops off of the playoff picture entirely.
If he loses 2-0.
If he loses 2-0, Matt ends up with a
4 and 5 -1 differential.
-1 differential, being 4 and 5, and 2 and 2. So he would end up being 15th at that point. So he goes from 7th to 15th, losing 2-0. If he loses 2-1, Weeble jumps into the playoff picture at number 12, and Matt drops all the way to 13th and pushes either Pops or Snom out of it. I don't know which one it would be, because nothing between the two that says which one is actually better at that point. Okay? If Matt wins 2-1, then Matt stays at number 7. And Weeble is no longer in the playoff picture for this week. And obviously, if he wins 2-0, Matt is still in the 7th position. So the best Matt can do at this point in time is win 2-0, still be in 7th position, and have a better round differential, and have a better record than who would be below Pengy. If he only wins 2-1, he still stays in the same 7th spot, but he's much closer to being overtaken than everybody that's a 2-2 record with 1 loss.
Okay.
So it's really crazy to think about how somebody can jump from 7th to being out of the playoffs.
How many teams make the playoffs?
14.
That's a lot. Oh, wow.
That is a lot. And players still on the hunt technically right now are Jolt, Jam, Anti, Alpaca, and Andrew.
Jolt, Jam, Anti. Where's Anti? Okay. Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that they have to have happen for them. They have to win. Jam and Jolt, and Anti, they all have to win 2-0s and hope that they can get their differential up above players that are already in the playoffs.
So the playoffs started. The playoffs started.
They have to do is win, and then they can have a hope of making the playoffs. But you're going to see right away. I mean, this week, Snom and Alpaca play. Right now, Snom's at the bottom of playoffs, literally 14.
Oh
13 or
wow.
14. Alpaca is just outside of the playoffs. So if Alpaca ends up beating Snom, then that kicks Snom out of the playoffs hard and moves Alpaca into the position where he could be as high as 10th place by the end of the season.
Oh wow.
So there is a lot of impactful games that are coming up this week and next week that are going to drastically change even what this breakdown is now.
Okay. Shit. This is cool.
But so as of right now, your playoff teams are Angelo Jax, KJ Vianney, Fox Turtle, Matt Pengy, Yama, Tom, Tootie, Katie, Pops, and Snob.
Oh wow. That's a lot of information, but I think that was very well put, man. I appreciate you doing all that and breaking it down for everyone, because the playoffs started for me last week versus Arceus. The playoffs are continuing versus Turtle. If I win, I have a chance to be in. That's the way I see it. If I lose, I feel like I'm out. So I hope everyone feels that way and we see some really good matches this week. And are you guys ready to get into the week 5 matches?
I am, yeah.
Matt,
I'm here.
let's fucking go. All right, so the first match, Bum versus KD. I picked KD. Matt, I'm going to go to you first. Who do you got?
I got KD.
Done and done. Jax, who do you got?
I'm going to go with Katie here as well.
All right, so a clean sweep for KD. Yeah, so we see 0-4 versus 1-2. Now 2-2. So I updated these screenshots today too. And then we got Fox versus Pengy. I got Fox in this one. Jax, who do you got in this one?
I am also going to take Fox.
Done and done. Matt, who you got?
Panky versus Fox. This should be a good game.
Right? That's exactly what I thought too.
I mean, I'm going with Fox, but I would not be surprised if Panky pulls this one out.
Not at all. Yeah, so we see what's it called? 8 kills for Heatran, 8 kills for Extra Trail and Gigalith, 7 kills for Chandelure. So a lot of high KOs for Fox. Great teams on both sides. 3-1 versus 2-2. This should be a great one. Next we got Yama versus Angelo, another great one. And I got Angelo in this one. Matt, who do you got?
Angelo's been on a tear. I haven't seen anyone that to put up much of a fight against Angelo. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen any chinks in the armor just yet. So I'm going with Angelo here. But once again, eventually it has to run out, right?
Right?
Eventually,
Unless he wins it all. 17 kills on Celesteela is crazy.
Yeah, ridiculous.
All right, and Jax, who you got in this one?
I'm actually going to go with Yama.
Nice. You're picking for the upset.
As long as Yama actually preps and preps for the right person for the right day and does his due diligence, this is a big match for him. This is going to make or break his playoff chances now. Because of his mistake last week and he lost to Andrew the week before. This is huge for Yama. He's kind of got to win this.
This became a playoff game for him.
Yeah, real quick. So I'm going to go with Yama. I think he's got a lot to play for. And Angelo, even though he's playing still to be number one in the league, he could take a loss and still be number one in his conference at that point.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the next one. We got Jade versus Matt. I'm actually riding with the co-host here. I'm going with you, Matt. Shout out you. And Jax, who you got in this one?
Yeah, I'm going with Matt as well.
Done and done. Shout out Matt. All right, Matt, I'm not even going to ask because I know you don't pick your game. So let's get into the next one. Jolt versus Anti. I'm picking Anti in this one. Matt, who you got? Matt, you there?
Oh, I thought you were just kind of leaving it. Joke versus Anti. Very tough decision, but I think I'm going with Joe on this one. I think what Joe was able to do against Fox, it feels like Joe's always in the game.
Yeah.
And with that being said, Anti has been up and down. I mean, he did have a good game against KD, but if Anti doesn't prepare the right way, I can see Joe taking this one.
And Jax, who you got in this one?
Wait, who did you guys take?
I took Anti. Matt took Jolt.
Wow. Yeah, this is going to be a close one.
I think so too.
This is going to be really close.
Game of the week, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, possibly.
This could be a very fun one to watch, knowing these coaches.
Play really well, and their teams are constructed really well.
And they're both not ass.
Yeah, right. I'm going to go with Anti.
All right. Now let's get into the next one, which is Pops versus Weeble Wobs. I'm going Pops in this one. And Jax, who you got in this one?
I think I'm going to go with Pops as well. Haven't seen much of Weeble still yet this season, and Pops has been picking up steam.
Yeah. All right. And Matt, who you got in this one? Pops versus Weeble.
I'm happy I didn't get to play Weeble yet, because I think I'm going to learn some things about his team a little bit more than I did when he played Angelo. No, not Angelo, Fox. I'm sorry. But I think it's going to be a close game. I am going with Pops, but at the same time, again, would not be surprised if Weeble pulls it out.
Nice. All right. And we got the next match, me versus Turtle. I'm picking me. I want to get a 2-0 victory here and solidify my spot in the playoffs. And Matt, who you got in this one?
I am sorry, Tom. I mean, listen, you did get one win on Angelo. So, there is hope. But I think after that loss to KJ this week, I think Turtle, he may come out swinging, and he may just say, you know what, whoever's my next opponent, I do not feel bad for you, and he's just gonna 2-0 you. But like I said, you did get one win over Angelo, so maybe you can catch Turtle slipping and pick up one win. But I think Turtle's gonna take this one.
Done and done. And Jax, who you got in this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna end up having to go with Turtle on this one as well.
All good.
I would love to be wrong.
I hope you are too. I got a plan.
Hard to break.
Yeah, no, he's got some stuff that's hard to break, but I think I got a plan now. And this is my fully updated roster. I made 3 trades. I traded Lipard. I mean, not Lipard. I traded Inteleon for Moltres. I traded Alolan Eggs for Slowking, and I traded Hippowdon for Tyranitar. So I like my 3 trades. And yeah, Turtle's got a fucking hell of a team, man. So I'm excited for this one. Let's get into the next one, which is KJ versus Arceus. I got KJ. Jax, who you got?
I'm going with KJ.
And Matt, who you got?
I'm going with KJ. I think he continues his undefeated streak, which is so crazy to think about. That there are still undefeated teams left, but he deserves it. I think
playing
that
hell of a
win
game.
against Turtle, definitely. Like I said, I didn't think it shocked anyone, but at the same time, what KJ was able to do, I think he's riding on an all-time high right now. Unless Arceus comes out, and goes crazy, I can see KJ carrying this momentum.
You know what? I'm switching my pick from KJ to Arceus.
Oh, God.
I expect something crazy now.
Okay. Well, listen, Pukumuku, I mean,
Pukumuku.
If anything, all Arceus is this whole season is about proving everyone wrong that Pukumuku was the right time to, was the right model to get drafted.
I was so scared of Trick Room. Yeah. So I actually played both these guys. KJ kicked my ass week 1, and I was terrified of this format. And I just got the win with yawns and flinches over Arceus. So I'm excited to see this one. I actually think Arceus is going to be able to pull it out. So I'm excited to see this one. And let's get into the next one, which is Jax, your match. versus Behaney. And Matt, you don't pick Behaney's matches, so I'm actually going to pick Jackson this one. And I'm the only one picking this one. It might be game of the week. We have a 4-0 team versus a 3-1 team. Huge for the standings.
I won't pick this game, but I will say I've seen Jax's team. I talked to Jack just like I kind of talked to Behaney. They're both really good competitors. I'm just gonna enjoy the game, and this is one of those games where you're gonna feel bad for the loser, but you're gonna be happy for the winner.
Yeah. No matter what happens, I'm excited to see it. But all right, let's move on to the next one. Tootie versus Jam. I'm picking Tootie, and Jax, who you got in this one?
I am also gonna pick Tootie. I think Tootie's gonna be he is on a roll. He's had a really tough schedule, especially like early on in the season. It doesn't really get that much easier. He's got Jam this week, and I think Angelo next week. So I mean, he's had a tough season all around, but I think he's got enough in the locker, as they say, to pull this one out.
Crazy. All right, let's get in. Oh, and Matt, who you got in this one?
So I thought Jam was going to get things going last week against Snom.
Oh shit.
I think like Jack said, like Tootie is picking up some steam. I'll go back to even I think it was week 2 between Tootie and Turtle, where very good game to watch. Came down to the wire. A couple of good things by Tootie himself, but at the end of the game, I thought what it really came down to was Turtle playing better. But I am going to go with Tootie, but I would not be surprised if Jam is able to win this game.
No, I would not be surprised in an upset at all. And Andrew, I saw your comment. Is the stream down? I hope the stream's not down. I'm not getting any notifications that I'm buffering at all. So if the stream's buffering, I apologize to everyone. I'll try to post this on YouTube as soon as possible. But all right, let's get into the next one, which is actually Andrew's match versus Weez. I'm going with Andrew on this one. And Jax, who you got in this one?
I am also going to go with Andrew. We're going to be prepping here actually after the show tonight, and we're going to get into the lab real quick and try to hit some solid texts that are going to help him get a win out.
Let's go. All right, and Matt, who you got?
I like Andrew in this.
Done and done. So clean sweep for Andrew in the last match of the week. Snom versus Alpaca. I'm going with Snom in this one. So Snom really impressed me in the win last week. So Matt, who you got in this one?
So my question is, what was more intriguing? Was it Snom beating Jam, or was it Alpaca beating Behaney?
It was Alpaca beating Behaney, but
okay, so I'm going Alpaca. No context behind it. I'm going Alpaca.
All right. And Jax, who you got in this one? Jax, you there? Shit, do we lose? Oh, perfect. Who you got in this one? Jax, Snom versus Alpaca.
This is a really interesting match.
Right.
With some big playoff implications. Like I said, they're both at the
This is a playoff game.
Very cusp of playoff.
This is a playoff game.
Whoever wins basically is whoever loses is out. So that's rough.
Yeah, if whoever loses this is basically out of the playoffs. I think mathematically.
I am gonna go with Alpaca. As long as he preps like he did, I think that like he did against Behaney, he can play his game. I hate to do it, but I'm going to go with him.
Yeah, because I also take in consideration that, I know Behaney didn't get enough preparation, but at the same time, Behaney is still a good competitor, and his team is tough. What Behaney was able to, what Behaney was able to do as far as a building standpoint, I was looking at Alpaca's team, and I was kind of confused on what Alpaca would be able to do to beat Haney's team. I mean, every team is beatable, but there are bad matchups every week where you're like, I don't know how he's going to be able to do. And Alpaca was able to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not to discourage anything from Alpaca with the fact that Behaney said he didn't really get to prep all that much. You could tell that Alpaca did get to prep that much, and it showed.
Oh no, like 100%. 100%. I like that. I might switch. No, I'm sticking with Snom here. I'm riding with Snom. Snom really impressed me. But all right, guys, that's the end of the show. Good luck to all our competitors. Follow at CPDL12 on Twitter. And I appreciate each and every one of you coming out and watching these recap shows because I have a fucking blast doing them. So, like, the fact that you guys actually watch them and like them means the world to me. You know, like, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Jax and Matt, for hopping on. Thank you. Jax, do you got anything to say before we hop off?
Like you said, good luck to all competitors. I hope all the matches go really, really well. Good luck to everybody who's playing for playoff contention.
Yep.
And hope that you get what you need to stay in playoff contention.
Exactly. And Matt, you got anything else to say?
I can't believe how fast this season has gone. I mean, I know it was 6 games, but I felt like we just started. Like, I felt like this is week one. Everyone is happy about how their draft turned out. But yeah, like the fact that there are still people dropping Mons and picking up Mons for that last stretch. I mean, these last 2 games,
Very important.
you know, like Jack said, like you could be in the playoffs now, and then all of a sudden you blink and you're like, wait, what just happened? Like now I'm not able to go into the playoffs.
All the
Despite
2-2
it being
teams.
what, like 14 teams, you said?
Yeah, 14 teams. Yep.
Yeah, like that's a lot of teams going to the playoffs. But at the same time, you're still going to have players who were really good not make the playoffs, and it's all because maybe they weren't fully prepared for this format in the first 2 weeks, or maybe they kind of stumbled down the line. So we'll see how it ends up.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm really excited. All the 2-2 teams. This is the playoffs started for us. So shout out everyone, and good luck. All right, I'm gonna end the stream here.